What's up, guys? Ethan with Pity the Fool Fitness here. Stockholm Syndrome. Let's talk about it. What is Stockholm Syndrome? Stockholm Syndrome is a term used to describe an event that had happened in Stockholm Syndrome, in Stockholm, Sweden. Wow. What had happened, it was a bank robbery in 1973, I do believe. There was hostages strapped with dynamite. 131 hours or something like that, the robbery lasted. Hostages began to aid the hostage takers. They started to help them, and people couldn't figure out why. Like, what was going on? Were they in on it? No, they'd never met before. They didn't know these people. And later on, it was determined to be something the brain had done to get them through the ordeal. It was so deep for two of them that, if I'm not mistaken, one lady wound up marrying one of the bank robbers while he was in prison or when he got out. Like, that's how deep it went. That's what the brain does. Stockholm Syndrome, for me, was how I survived for so long. And it's crazy to think that I survived by going along. Like, it hurts the brain to think about. I mean, you think you would fight. I mean, I was 5. What was I going to do? But you think you feel like you should have done something, but you did. You just didn't realize it. See, for me, Stockholm Syndrome came by way of going along. It started happening at 5 for me. It started out as cuddling. It started out as okay touch. I it was apparent you're supposed to be able to cuddle. And it was every night cuddles, and it became, more and more aggressive as time went on. Now, here's your trigger warning. I'm going to write one, but I should probably give you one. I should give you one. So here's your trigger warnings. I'm going to touch on a few topics here with abuse that very well could upset you. See, for me, I didn't know that it was Stockholm Syndrome. Obviously, you don't really notice until somebody tells you. And it wasn't until I was in therapy at 28 years old that somebody mentioned, like, hey, and by somebody I mean Jay, my therapist. Love you, Jay. How's it going, bud? We talked about it, and it made sense. See, for me, the going along was not because I thought I had to tell somebody, but because it never really crossed my mind. I didn't know the difference. It happened so young, started happening so young that my love map got fucked up enough to know that, this is what it is. This is how you get love and affection. And my brain just said, okay, cool, well, we're going to go along. Something's wrong, but we're going to go along. By the time I figured out something was wrong, my brain was already enamored with my abuser. My brain literally welcomed my abuser into my room at night. It goes even deeper than that. Come to the trial. When I'm in the foundation that's supposed to be helping me, I couldn't even tell them the truth about my abuse because I was protecting my abuser. I never told them that he raped me. I never told them that. I was so ashamed and so stuck that I couldn't even tell them that truth. His prison sentence would have been much longer had I been able to say it. You think after putting him away that would be it. Stockholm Syndrome over. He's gone. Wrong. For me, it continued. It continued so deeply that when it was time for him to get out, I lied. I lied for a few reasons. One of the reasons being I didn't want to see my mom suffer anymore. She's trying to raise 2 boys on her own. Woman is she worked, up to 5 jobs at any given time trying to get by. And, for me, I couldn't handle that anymore. And you know what, I'd been taking it my whole life. I've been going through my whole, what does it mean to just keep on bearing that burden? So I lied. A piece of me lied because I wanted him back. I wanted what was misconstrued as love. It's a piece of my story that not a lot of people know. I'm the reason Lenny got out. It wasn't for good behavior. It wasn't because everybody else was ready. It's because I said that he could come back. Now, my mom might see this and not know that information yet, so I'm sorry if you didn't know that. But it kills me inside. It kills me to know that I had to survive that way. And a lot of people watching this that or will watch this that have experienced or are experiencing or going through, or it sounds familiar. And this doesn't just pertain to child abuse. This is domestic. This is anytime you've ever heard the story of, why do you keep letting them back in? Why do you, he does what to you and you still bring him back? That is it. The lack of understanding of the why would you bring someone back in is the aftermath of Stockholm Syndrome, because even they don't know. They can't figure out. They know. They're deep down here. But here is like, well, no, he loves me. I love him, or she, whatever. I'm using domestic abuse as this case. But when somebody's suffering with something like that, when they can't figure out why the person that's controlling them looks like them, but they don't recognize that person, I'm trying my best to put this into words, guys. Stockholm Syndrome's terrifying, and it's nasty, and it hurts when you think, because the number one line you hear is, I did this. I've thought that for a very long time, that I brought this on myself. I could have stopped it. But you were 5, Ethan. Doesn't make it hurt any less. What I want you guys to take away from this is not just the amount of pain you can see me in, because I am in quite a bit at the moment, but I want you guys to understand, like, there's no right or wrong when you suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. It is only to survive. And the people that are trying to survive trap themselves in their own way, because they're just, all you know is how to survive. More people need to understand this. More people need to know that it's not always a willful decision based off of fact. When you're stuck in a place like that, you just try to survive. At the end of this video, guys, I want you to just sit there and think about every time you've heard that question. Why would you go back? It's so common. Why'd you let it happen? How come you let that happen? We've tried to help you. All those questions fall on deaf ears because all we know is we have to survive. Be kind to one another, guys. Show grace more than ever. Try to understand. Try not to get frustrated. It's hard to try to help somebody out of that state, out of that condition, out of that syndrome. It is frustrating and it is exhausting. But it does not compare to being the person in it. And we need help more than ever. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, I love you. Peace.